Hi all, I was asked a very important question recently about what's it like for an autistic child at school. So I can only speak from my own personal experience because I was a high masking child at school. And if you've met one autistic child, that means you've met one autistic child because every brain is different. So if you struggle significantly in each aspect of this circle in the middle, executive functioning, social, repetitions, interests, sensory sensitivities, emotional regulation and perceptions, but each one affects the other. So I've made it into a wheel which can turn around because the interests can change, social aspects can change based on a broader factors. My sensitivities to sound and smells can change vastly depending on my routine and how my routine has been in the week, during the day, at home before coming to school. And that will affect my sensitivities to sound, smell. It affects my eye contact. If I haven't got a healthy routine, my ability to hyperfocus is not amazing. And yes, there's so many different factors to think about. And because I was a very high masking child, I didn't realise that's what I was doing in school. I was trying to fit in. I was trying to not show that I was having sensitivities to all these things like light, smell, touch. My ability to trust was, well, very naive, I would say. It's been very naive all my adulthood, as well as in school, and worse in comprehensive school, I would say, and in college and through my 20s and my 30s. I only had my diagnosis a few years ago, so I've spent a lot of time processing it, grieving my past, and unmasking. And the unmasking journey is very interesting. My energy levels are quite low because I'm not happy in my environment. I could thrive, and there's a trap we fall in when we're feeling amazing. Our energy levels are super high. We think we can conquer the world. We can fool anyone. We can fool teachers. We can fool our peers, and they have all this faith in us because they can see that on a good day we've got all this faith in ourselves. But that is dangerous because we will burn out, because the support stops, the continuity ends, and all these aspects change. We can go from fawning like a deer to no fear at all like a polar bear, just in a matter of minutes or a day. It all depends on everything else, our upbringing, our home life. Our ability to do eye contact might depend on whether we trust the person. If there's a noisy environment, I can't look at anyone in the eye. It's just too much for me. I will get tired, I will burn out. Healthy routine. I do not have a healthy routine. I have a healthy life, but it's not structured. I haven't got the routine. And if I did, I'd be functioning very, very well. I'd be able to manage my energy levels very, very well. So yes, my self-care I struggle with because of my environment, because of my lack of routine. My imagination, visual memory, very strong. I've written 2 books, and I've recorded one to audio because I was trying to escape all these feelings I'm struggling with, like alexithemia, when you can't identify your feelings. So say now, people say everyone's a little bit autistic, but that's wrong because everyone can't be a little bit autistic or got a little bit of ADHD or a little bit of dyslexia. It's like saying you're a little bit pregnant. It's absolutely impossible. So if we're struggling halfway, at least in each of these sections, that will justify you having an autism diagnosis, but you have to struggle within all those. But everything depends on everything else. I can manage my tics, my involuntary movements, because I've been taught to mask my feelings so well, to fit in, to stop being bullied. But actually, it's been detrimental to my health because I'm going to be spending the rest of my life now unmasking my unhealthy coping mechanisms. So yes, as you can see, this board can be very helpful in a teaching environment. for children, for adults, for teachers, and for parents. And the thing about autism that nobody talks about is the emotional part and relationships. I guess there's some kind of stigma or shame behind it, and it's quite personal, isn't it? So if we've got an emotional issue regarding another peer or a partner or a potential love interest, we tend to keep those feelings to ourselves, but that will affect everything. I can't speak for every child with autism, but I can speak for myself. And as a woman who is also a gay woman, you might think that's irrelevant, but I would be very prone to going down the trans path as a child in school. I was not verbal in school, in primary school. I'm verbal now because I've understood what autism is, and I'm autistic. I wouldn't say I've got autism, because it's like you've got a bag of autism and you can catch it and you can give it to somebody else, and it's not how it works because we take things literally. So in school I was quite non-verbal and prone to bullying, being bullied I should say, and in Brownies I was mute for weeks, and the brown owl had to ask my mum if I could actually talk, but I was so overwhelmed in a group I didn't want to be in. I didn't like the brown outfit, and generally was quite suppressed because I didn't feel like I could be myself. So I was quiet in school, quiet in Brownies. I'd get home and I'd be absolutely bonkers. It would be like a pressure cooker just exploding, and my parents couldn't understand why the teachers would say that I was very quiet in school, because they couldn't understand, because at home I was doing impressions of all the family members, of people I saw on the television, and that could be that's stimming as well when I was making impressions of people, verbal stims, copying of television programs and films, you know, quoting films. It was like an acceptable way to stim without drawing attention to myself, and without, just without getting away with it, masking really. It just seemed to be more entertaining if I was to be the class clown at times when the bullies took me under their wing, because I was an easy target because I didn't speak up for myself. So yes, executive functioning all depends on all the other factors involved. So basically the chart speaks for itself, and I made another chart as well because it's not as black and white as this. Also, sometimes I didn't know if I was hungry or not. I didn't know if I was cold or not, or thirsty. And sometimes something I was blaming, like if I was upset about something, it could be as simple as you're hungry or thirsty, but you can't pinpoint the feeling you're feeling. So prompts are really handy in those circumstances. So the other chart I made, which goes hand in hand with this chart, excuse me, it's a bit deeper. My sense of justice, it takes over my whole being. I'm very passionate about the things I believe in, but if my basic needs are not seen to, then I could go from that to this, you know, in a few seconds. Don't care, what's the point? If I'm not having my basic needs seen to, if I'm being misunderstood constantly, if I'm being encouraged to play in groups or to take part in group activities when I just want to put my headphones on and sit in a corner, I don't want to feel pressured, you know. It's nothing to do with confidence, it's to do with resting in between transitions, which is vital for me. Even from coming out of the bath and sitting down on the bed before I get changed, you know, having a 5-minute reset in between every transition is vital for me. I'm aware I've talked for 9.5 minutes now, but all these influences affect everything on the chart. So when you ask, what's it like for a child with autism at school? I could talk for hours. So I would like to make myself available for anyone who's got any questions, because I come from a person-centred approach, and it's really important to me that all children in the world have the help they need. So yes, I can zoom up on this for a couple of seconds now, but that 10 minutes is up. I'm usually in a state of alexithemia. If I haven't got my routine in a safe environment that's quiet and predictable, that's very important. I know it can't be predictable all the time in this game of life, but enough to feel emotionally safe is what we're aiming for, so that we can make balanced decisions and not feel like we regret our decisions in retrospect. You know, when it comes to picking our options, like, do I want to take English, math, science, and then because you're overwhelmed and you might have been copying another child, you might pick the wrong subject and regret it for the rest of your life. So yes, I am talking from my own point of view and my own experience in a public school, but I think this applies to a lot of children, especially now with the gender confusion in schools. There's more pressure on children these days. If you've got any questions, I'd be really, really happy to help. Okay, I think that's done for now. Thank you so much.